Steven McBee Jr. accused his ex Allie Eklund of lying about the mini Highlands shown this season, but the receipts she exclusively shared with me tell a very different story. Buckle up, because here's how fan accusations about two adorable cows turned into another round of McBee drama. And we've got bank statements, text messages, photos, and more. This all started after Allie posted a TikTok showing a mini Highland at her family's Triple E ranch in Texas. Fans started accusing Allie of copying Steven and his family, which I get because viewers had just watched Steven and his brothers purchase these two mini Highlands on the show. But then Allie jumped back into the comments to clarify that the two cream-colored Highlands shown on the show were purchased for Triple E Ranch. Then TikTok creator The Courtney Chronicles covered the confusion, and her comment section escalated the drama further. The company that Steven purchased the Highlands from, Webb Cattle Company, wrote, "Well, Steven paid us for those mini Highlands, so..." And that brought Steven into the conversation. He thanked the breeder for what he called the facts of the situation and accused Allie of telling multiple lies. After someone commented that he should stop replying to the comments, Steven said he stayed silent during what he called a full-on smear campaign press tour, adding that he would show every payment, conversation, reference check, and transportation arrangement because Allie supposedly had nothing but what she, quote, spews out of her mouth. Steven also shared an invoice from Webb Cattle in the comments showing the purchase date of January 9th for 30 embryos and 2 yellow Highland steers named Vlad and Whiskey. And pay close attention to that date because that's where Steven's version of events starts to fall apart. A few days ago, Allie reached out to me saying that she had receipts to back up her claim that the mini Highlands shown on McBee Dynasty were for her family's ranch. First off, she's not disputing that Steven bought the cows from Webb Cattle Company on January 9th. But Allie says Steven was getting them for Triple E and that they paid Steven for the 2 cattle and embryos. So think of Steven as the broker or middleman for this specific purchase. And look, Steven admitted that he helped Allie's ranch buy the Highlands, but where their stories conflict is the timeline. In the comments, Steven claimed that Allie's dad was on the fence and decided to buy the mini Highlands after filming, and that the McBees took care of the animals for a month before taking them to Triple E in Texas. But Allie said that's not what happened and shared a bank statement and dated evidence challenging that timeline. She says she thought Steven was researching the mini Highlands and developing a concept connected to Triple E before the plan expanded to involve both ranches. According to Allie, McBee Farms would breed the cattle, Triple E would acquire animals through that program, and both ranches would eventually sell them. She sent me a December message from Steven showing a mock-up for a Triple E website focused on premium mini Highland genetics. Steven wrote that it would provide more storytelling and background to Triple E. On December 22nd, he messaged her about what he called a very enlightening call with Webb Cattle Company. And while the screenshot doesn't prove every detail of the arrangement, it does support Allie's claim that Steven was developing a mini Highland concept connected to Triple E before the cattle was purchased in January. If Steven and his family were planning on this business plan for a while for themselves, that's a whole different story, and Allie isn't even disputing that. Allie says her family was also working with other breeders because they didn't want to wait until fall for calves from the embryo program. She says Triple E separately purchased female Highlands and donkeys unrelated to Webb Cattle or the shared breeding plan with Steven's farm. But let's focus on these 2 cream-colored minis shown on the show. Allie showed me family messages from January 4th, 5 days before Steven picked up the minis from Webb, showing her family already discussing names for the cattle. She also provided messages from January 9th showing Steven sending videos of Vlad and Whiskey to her family after picking them up. He described them as an inexpensive investment with social media potential, while Allie's father asked follow-up questions. So pay close attention to the dates here. Steven's invoice is dated January 9th. His messages to Allie and her family about the cattle and pickup are also dated January 9th. The invoice only shows 2 mini Highlands, so unless there was a different invoice, it would seem like these are the same cows. But that's not the only proof Allie shared. Remember, in recent comments, Steven claimed that Triple E was on the fence and didn't want the cows until after filming. Well, Allie sent me a bank statement from the Triple E ranch dated January 2nd that she said, quote, was paid to Steven to facilitate the mini Highland sale with Webb Cattle. That was an entire week before Steven picked up the animals on the 9th, which viewers watched on the show. So Steven's claims aren't lining up, and Allie shared even more proof with me. In the comments, Steven claimed that the McBees took care of Triple E's mini Highlands for a month. But check out these Instagram stories from January 16th. Showing those same cream-colored mini Highlands arriving in Texas along with Todd the pig, only 1 week after the animals were picked up from Webb Cattle. And her evidence and timeline are important to the story because if you've been paying attention, you might have seen Steven's friends and family backing up some of his claims. Casey posted a photo in Courtney Chronicles comments showing 1 reddish brown and 1 black mini Highland that she said belonged to McBee Farms, but Casey's own post says the picture was from March. So that's nearly 2 months after the cream-colored minis were purchased, filmed, and taken to Texas. Allie doesn't deny that the McBees ever bought Highlands. She just says those Highlands were bought weeks after the episode, and the cream-colored ones on the episode were for Triple E Ranch. So I'm assuming the cows that Steven's friend Jake mentioned in the comments are the ones that Casey shared, not Triple E's Highlands that were only there for a week in early January. So it seems like Allie was telling the truth. And she once had known that her original social media posts about the Highlands weren't a dig at the McBees, writing, and most importantly, I never claimed the McBees weren't going to have minis. I said the exact opposite in my comments. I repeatedly acknowledged that they planned to breed them. They just didn't have their own Highlands at the time that episode was filmed. I never accused them of lying, stealing the idea, borrowing our animals, or pretending our animals belonged to them. Those are claims that got attached to what I said afterward. They weren't claims I actually made. So I think a lot of the confusion can happen online when fans don't know the full story. But their beef over these adorably cute minis doesn't change much of their story. The bigger issue, in my opinion, is how Steven continues to talk about Allie in public. He says he doesn't want to degrade Allie or expose her to hate. He's praised her work ethic and said her family treated him like gold. Yet, during a recent McBee Farms TikTok live while discussing a horse he bought as a gift for Allie, Steven made another sexual insult about her and what he alleges happened at Stagecoach.
She came over one evening to look at the horse and take photos with it. And 2 weeks later, she was out there rather riding another guy at a Stagecoach after party than riding the horse. So I kept the horse. I think that's fair.
Like, imagine publicly apologizing for slut-shaming someone and then doing it again and again. As we know, back in April, Steven apologized for previously released text messages showing how he spoke to Allie in an abusive manner, and in interviews, he describes that apology as personal growth. But in the safety of his own platform, during lives, reposts, and comment sections, he continues making sexual or degrading comments about her, which makes those apologies difficult to take seriously. Steven also left a comment saying that his mom, Christy, asked, "Can't this girl get a boyfriend so she'll move the F on and stop talking about us?" But the finale had just aired. Allie was only responding to viewers accusing her of copying the McBees, while Steven and members of his family were also posting, going live, and arguing in comment sections. And mind you, Allie's also a cast member of this season. This isn't like some rehashing decades-old drama. This is her story to share with what's been airing over the last several months. Frankly, his mom may want to spend less time worrying about whether Allie has a new boyfriend and more time worrying about how her son continues to speak to and about her, since it's a pattern with him and how he treats women. So after seeing the receipts, proof, timeline, do you think Allie is telling the truth about the mini Highlands from the show? What do you make of Steven's comments now? And do you believe he's really changing how he speaks to and about women while continuing to make degrading comments about Allie? Let me know in the comments.